What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel for the Week 3 Waiver Wire show. I'm your host, Dylan Clemons, and I'll be here every Tuesday morning bringing you my top 6 waiver wire ads of the week. But before I do that, I just want to remind you to please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't already. And then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and become an all-access member where you get access to our award-winning rankings, access to our F6P Discord, where you get custom advice for your leagues and DFS builds, direct access to our Fantasy Six-Pack team, and AMAs. Plus, you get access to our DFS projections and stacking tool. It's just fantastic stuff, guys, just for $9.99 a month. It's honestly really good, and you get access to beyond the 6 players that I'm going to be talking about in this episode in my article as well that will drop Tuesday morning on fantasy6pack.net. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. And the first guy here I want to talk about is Roschon Johnson. And guys, this one is near and dear to my heart. This Bears offense is just in shambles right now. Justin Fields looks like he can't read a defense, as much as it kills me to say that. He's not making very good choices when he's inside the pocket, so they need to get back to the simple stuff. They need to get back to their zone run scheme, which caused a problem for many teams last year. Khalil Herbert is the RB1 in this offense at the moment. Through 2 games, he's outsnapped Roschon 59-21. However, Deonta Foreman was a healthy scratch yesterday, promoting Roschon to RB2 in the offense. When he touches the ball, good stuff usually happens, and he got on an outside zone run on Sunday, and broke a big 20-yard run. He's just the goods. He really is, and he's only rostered in about 33% of leagues, and I feel like the Bears need to get back to keeping it simple, and they need to grind it out on the ground if they want any chance of turning their season around. And this week, it doesn't get any easier for them as they take on Kansas City, but what are they going to do to try to win this game? They need to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and they need to try to run it and grind it out. I would not be surprised if Roschon Johnson saw 10 to 12 touches this week on the ground and through the air, because this is a guy who could catch the ball out of the backfield, and PFF had him rated as one of the top pass blocking running backs there was in the first week. So it's just full steam ahead for Roschon Johnson, and it's just going to keep getting better and better throughout the season, and eventually he could be a league winner, and he's just sitting out there in about 67% of leagues. So I would go out and attack him as my top waiver wire ad this week. The next guy I want to talk about is Zach Moss. He's 41% rostered in leagues, so it's kind of cheating at this point, but I got to throw my hands up, guys. I didn't see this happening, and I was 100% wrong about him. On our Friday show, all of us talked about on the Friday show that we didn't believe Zach Moss was going to be a big part of this offense, that he's kind of just the guy. Well, he kind of shut me up, and volume speaks, and he played 98% of the Colts snaps in week 2 against the Texans, and he produced 18 carries for 88 yards, and he found the end zone for 16.7 half PPR fantasy points. And if he's going to play 98% of the snaps, he's kind of forcing the hand that he should be in your lineup. You know, week 3 takes on the Ravens, who are decent against the run, but they can be run on. But I do want to throw this in there. Jonathan Taylor's posting stuff on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and he's kind of hinting that he could be coming back after week 4 when he gets off of the PUP list or injured reserve. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember which one he is on, but so Zach Moss would definitely take a step back once Jonathan Taylor comes back. But the next couple weeks while Taylor is still out, I think Zach Moss could fill a hole in your lineup if you are in need for a running back. The next guy we got, is Justice Hill, running back of the Baltimore Ravens, who's rostered in just under 37% of the leagues. I'll start out by saying that I would probably rather have Gus Edwards as I think he just might be the better player. However, Justice Hill, he outsnapped Gus Edwards 43-32 this week, and he had 11 carries this week for 41 yards and 3 targets. He just didn't score this week like he did in week 1 when he scored 2 touchdowns. But guys, that week he had 8 carries for just 9 yards. It's nice to see him involved in the passing game. And I think that should continue. And if he's going to be out snapping Edwards, you like to see that. And eventually he's going to score, more than just the 7 to 8 fantasy points that he scored last week. So it's like he needs to be rostered, as this Ravens team is still pretty run heavy. He needs to be rostered in more than 64% of leagues. And if you're in need of a running back and Zach Moss is already off your waiver wire, or Roschon's already off your waiver wire, because there's a decent chance there is, if Justice Hill's there or even Gus Edwards is there, go ahead and scoop one of those guys up. Our next guy here, Josh Reynolds, Detroit Lions, not the sexiest name on this list, rostered in just 8.2% of leagues. But he is the second leading target getter in this Lions offense through 2 games, only behind Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god himself, 16-13. He's just under a 20% target share, and with Jameson Williams out until week 6, I can totally see that continuing. We thought that rookie Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be the second most target getter in this offense, but it just hasn't been the case yet, although he did see 9 targets this past week, which was nice to see for Gibbs owners. But I still expect Reynolds to out-target him at this point. Plus, Amon-Ra St. Brown is dealing with a toe injury that I'm seeing all over the place, which isn't an ideal thing. It's a turf toe situation, quite possibly, so that could hamper him, if not keep him out of this week. Hopefully Amon-Ra St. Brown is a go, and he should be. But Josh Reynolds, either way, I think is someone who needs to be rostered, definitely in more than 10% of your league. So if you need wide receiver help, and you need a guy who's averaging 6 targets a game in a really good offense with a quarterback, Jared Goff, who has shown that he's taken a step forward and can produce fantasy wide receivers, I'm throwing a waiver claim in on Josh Reynolds and some fab dollars for sure this week. The next wide receiver I want to talk about is Tutu Atwell, wide receiver, the Los Angeles Rams. Only 3.4% rostered, which surprised me still, because he's quietly putting together a great season as well alongside Puka Nacua. Atwell has seen 17 targets in his 2 games and caught 13 of them. He just hasn't been able to find the end zone. He's the slot receiver in this offense, and we absolutely love to see that. He's certainly becoming one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets, with Cooper Kupp outside of Puka Nacua, obviously. But Matthew Stafford, he seems on it. He's thrown for over 300 yards in both games. This offense seems to be much better than everybody projected. They play Cincinnati this week. In Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is kind of a question mark, but if Burrow plays, you'd like to think the Rams are going to be down in this game, or it's going to be an even game script. So they should be throwing the ball. And I think Atwell at this point deserves to be on your rosters. And if you're hurting at the position, you could plug him in, and I think you could feel decently comfortable with it. And then the last guy I want to talk to you guys about, Hunter Henry, tight end, New England Patriots. He's almost 50% rostered, guys, but he comes in just under that mark at 44.5%. All right. He's got 13 targets in 2 games, which only comes out to a 13.5% target share, which isn't great. But what you love to see through 2 games, Hunter Henry has played on 85% of New England snaps. That's wild. They even have Mike Gesicki in this offense, and these guys, and they're still finding ways to get both of these guys on the field at the same time. We've seen time and time again, including last year and now this year with Henry finding the end zone twice, that he is the clear-cut red zone favorite and target for Mac Jones, and I don't see why that would change. Hunter Henry deserves to be rostered in 100% of leagues, and he should be started as long as you don't have one of the top, at this point, 3 guys. It's Hunter Henry needs to be in your lineups, guys. So make sure you're throwing a waiver claim on him this week. But yep, that was my 6 guys that my top 6 guys that you should be looking at. Let me recap real quick for you. You got Roschon Johnson, Zach Moss, Justice Hill, Josh Reynolds, Tutu Atwell, and Hunter Henry. And guys, guess what? I do have more names on this list, but they are in my article and they are behind the paywall. So like I said, head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and become an all access member. And for just $9.99 a month, and you get access to our award-winning rankings, access to our Discord, access to our DFS projections and stacking tool, and our DFS gurus and Dave Eddy and Chris Robin. But yep, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. And please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be back here next Tuesday morning to talk next week's waiver wire with you guys as well. Talk to you next week. See you later.